algorithm. Here we have a two important term, that is a expectation maximization. From learning these two steps, we will understand what is mean by the expectation maximization algorithm. Let us understand its fundamental part. So far we have discussed from the very sources. Few things we have to keep in mind from the previous example. So far we have discussed. So I will remind you. Don't worry. So in the real world application, what we have discussed in the machine learning, we have seen everything in the data set will supported by the features. So if we try to do something over the data set, then what we have to use the features, and these features could be observable or non-observable. So when we're talking about the some observable feature on which we can do something for the betterment of solving the problem, and that feature or those features are recognized as a un, that recognized as a observable features. I'm taking here today a real example, then you can understand. If you remember the practical session of the clustering, K-means clustering, where we had three important features. Those are, if you remember, those are age, spending score, and annual income. So overall, we have done something, that is we have created the clusters on the annual income. So what is mean by this approach? Without using the A's, but with the help of the A's we have used, but the clustering we are making on the annual income only. So what we have done so far, just let me clear to all once again. We have chosen the two important variables, two important features. Those are the annual income and age. From this point, we can say age is our features, and that is required to plot the data points following by the our annual income. So one could be the x variable, other could be the y variable. From this point, we can learn one variable could be observable, other variable could be unobservable. So when talking about the observable features, what is the important feature on which you will just make the cluster? That is the annual income. So that would be your observable features. But there are some hidden features or there are some hidden variables on which or which is required to infer or which is required to direct the our result based on the some features. It means based on the age you have plotted your data point of the annual income, but age data point are not plotting, because but based on the age you have done this activity. So at the time age is what? Age has become as a hidden variable or unobservable features or variable on which you are required to or on which you have taken as a hidden variable. And sometimes this hidden variable is known as latent variable. Okay, so I will tell you about detail about the latent variable. Just let me know the status right now. If you remember the example of the k-means clustering, we have the two important features. One is age, other one is annual income. So we have created the clusters of the annual income, not the age, but we have chosen the age feature, age variable, age column as a hidden variable, latent variable, and that is considered as a unobservable. Okay, so now this part is clear. Just tell me, this part is clear. Speak fast.
Yes.
Okay,
Sir, could you show
so
the data set?
data set.
Yes, sir.
Okay, data set. I can show you just. Yes. I'm opening the dataset in CSV understand rather than opening the program. So from that portion, you can understand what is the values which are holding by the data. So that is our we have used, and we have used the name of the data set. We have the k-means string, and we have the data set name is over here. It should be yes k-means cluster. Yes. Just give me 1 minute. I'm showing the screen. Okay, now data set is visible to you. Just tell me right now, data set is visible.
Yes, sir. Visible.
So, okay, thank you. So from this point, I was talking about this is my point. So the customer ID we have not chosen as our important features. Gender is not applicable over here. So what are the important features on which we can make the cluster? One is the age, scheduling, no, and spending. So we have chosen age as a X variable, while Y we have chosen annual income for making the cluster. So here annual income is what, that is annual income become as our observable features, and this is becomes as a unobservable features, because ultimately you are making the cluster on the Y axis data points, that is the annual income. That was my point. Now it is clear. Now it is, remember, if you have the answer, now it is clear.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Okay.
observable means what we need to get.
On which you will do something for your solving a problem. So as we just become only the plotting the purpose, plotting the data point of the annual income, because on the xy plane you need something, you need, see, if you are having only the one axis, then how you can plot your annual income? So you want to plot your data point, then you must have the x and y axis information. So x becomes the age. So based on the age, that is the infer. So age is a feature which is inferring your result following by the annual income. And what is the result? You are making the cluster, and that is the point. So at the time age become unobservable or hidden feature, and or hidden variable we can say, or annual income becomes as a our important feature, or we can say it is observable feature. Rather than annual, you can choose as a spending score for making the cluster. So at the time spending score would be as a observable feature. Now this part is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so why I'm taking all these examples, because expectation maximization algorithm is basically 15 minutes concept right now, very frankly speaking. But we need to understand its fundamental part, where it is coming, and what are the important things which are required to understand the expectation maximization algorithm. So it is totally theoretical portion, no issue, but we need to understand this theory in simple way and deeply manner, so why which we can understand the concept properly. So after understanding observable, unobservable point, so let us understand the expectation maximization algorithm. So what is saying us the expectation maximization algorithm? So expectation maximization algorithm, so I can speak EM algorithm. So EM algorithm can be used for the latent variable. So now again we have the question, what is a latent variable? Latent variables are not directly observable, but they are the part of the solving of a problem, just like A's feature or A's attribute. And they actually inferred from the values of the other observed variable. And what are the other observed variable? That is the annual income. So latent variables definition we can understand. The variables, the list of the variables, they are not directly treated as a observable. They are treated as an unobservable, or to infer your result and to infer your observable variable. And that is simple meaning. And from this EM model, we will try to predict something, and we will get the some result following by the probability distribution, some probability distribution conditions. From this point, we need to understand what is meant by the expectation maximization. So in the expectation maximization algorithm, you have to use latent variable. And what is mean by the latent variable? So that's why I've explained the observable and unobservable variable discussion, and that is important point. And in this case, or this algorithm, basically we are talking about, and that is considered into the unsupervised clustering algorithm. So in the field of the various machine learning approaches, if you try to solve by the expectation maximization clustering algorithm, then you can solve. So same example, same data set where features I have taken as we have studied into the k-mean. So I'm not doing anything special. I'm just taking the previous concept as inspired by the previous concept, that is clustering. So I'm using the expectation maximization algorithm in simple way. From this point, we need to understand again in more detail what is actually mean by the latent variable, because we are hearing the new term, that is the latent variable, from the unobservable pattern or unobservable variables. So let us understand the simple definition of the latent variable. So latent variable model is a type of the statistical model. So what is the name of the latent variable model? EM model, or we can say EM algorithm model. Okay, and that contain two type of the variable. One is the observable variable, or other one is a latent variable. This latent variable also known as the hidden variable or unobservable variable. We have already discussed. So no need to discuss more and more about the observable variable. But observable variable is basically used to measure the some record. What I mean to say, if you are trying to make a cluster, so we will take all the values of this observable variable to represent your data in forms of cluster. So we have taken annual income just like that one. So talking about the age, so age is just treated like as an unobservable variable, and that is used to infer your result, as we have seen and as we have noted two or three times. Now, from this point, just let me know right now the theoretical part is clear to all. Just tell me, theoretical portion is clear. The difference between the observable variable or unobservable variable or latent variable. So observed variable and unobserved variable, or we can say latent variable. The difference between these two types of the variable is clear. Yes, speak.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, good. So right now I'm taking simple problem. In this simple problem, by taking the theoretical part rather than I'm just focusing on the this image, and I will discuss this image to discuss more and more option right now. You are able to see these two images. These two images you are able to see. Can anyone tell me what is the difference you are observing? What is the biggest difference you are observing? Can you tell me? Yes, tell me. Anyone? Can anyone tell me what is the biggest difference you are observing?
Yes, sir. Sir, in the first diagram, things are interconnected. Means first variable is connected to dependent on second, second on third. But sir, in the second diagram, three variables affecting the heart disease variable, and then this variable is affecting another three variable.
Okay, good. So what you are observing over here, smoking, diet, exercise are the our observed input, and based on this observed input, if you try to get the some observed output, so just like the heart rate, blood pressure, and glucose level, so these are the our observed output. So you can observe over here the smoking is connected to with the all the observed output. Those are the heart rate, blood pressure, and glucose level. And same thing, we need to go for the diet and exercise. So everything is depend on each other. So we are having the mapping. So here the mapping we are having just connected to each and every. So each and every input, observed input is connected to the each and every observed output. From this point, what you are doing, what you are facing, you are having the complex structure, and in this case of the complex structure, definitely the complexity of your computation will be high. So you are expecting something that you are doing some smoking, so you can have the blood pressure and glucose level, heart rate. So everything is connected with each other. So that is the good point. That in general form we can understand. But what you are observing, you can observe over here. If you're doing the smoking, you are not having the good diet and you are not doing good exercise, then definitely what is the outcomes we are getting? We can have the glucose level cannot be in better way, or glucose level cannot be maintained. Blood pressure again will be not in normal case. Heart rate may be updated or heart rate will not be normal. So you will not, you if you are having the some very bad habit to smoking, you are not observing, you are not having the good diet, you are not doing the good exercise, then definitely from the based on the output, you can say you may have the heart disease. And this heart disease basically what? That is a hidden property or hidden variable which describes the each and every case property. In the second image or second image, you can say, so what is the mediator factors? Mediator factors are, we have the sum over here. So here observed variable, observed input or observed output are making the relationship by using the latent variable. So here this is a latent variable, hidden variable. So here we are having the minimum mapping or minimum relationship between observed input and observed output. So previous diagram we just maintaining the lots of the relationship, and you are making the complex, you are making the complex network, and that should not be stand into the machine learning. You can make, but you are increasing the complexity. Same thing. So what we are expecting, what you are maximizing. So in the maximization means what we're doing, we are just trying to maximize our better output, and we are expecting something better way. And you in the better way, in the expectation stage or state or mode, we can say we are just trying to something in better way, and based on that input, if you are getting the better result, then that it means you are getting the maximization. I will tell you the more detail about the expectation maximization algorithm, but let's understand this part right now. So with this help of this approach, you can at least remove, or you can just reduce the complexity of the our problem. Same thing if you remember the clustering. So each and every data point is connected to the each and every centroid, and definitely if you're doing so, what you are observing, you are increasing the complexity. Definitely you are increasing the complexity. So if you introduce EM model, EM algorithm, see again I'm repeating, this is a concept, is a technique that is that could be enabled into the any kind of the predefined or existing unsupervised learning algorithm. So this is a concept we need to keep in mind. So as we have seen the SOM, now we are looking at the EM, and now next we need to see the GM. So before jumping the GM, let's understand the EM properly. And that is the example. So now we have seen what is the its latent variable or hidden variable, that is a hard disease. Now, after understanding this point, you have been noticed over here. I have already spoken so many things over here. Same words are written over here. Number of the connections now grow linearly in this case instead of the multiplicativity as you add more latent factors. So greatly reduce the number of the parameters you have to estimate. So what we are doing, we are just trying to reduce the number of the mapping or number of the relationship as we are expecting, and or estimating, of course. So in general, you can have an arbitrary number of the connections between variable with as many latent variable as you wish. So you can have more than one latent variable, but keep in mind its requirement is feasible, then you can use. As you can't use, and why you are using. So the question you should ask yourself, why you are using the latent variable, because it is not demanding, it is not needed. So if it is needed or it is required, then we can do. And this kind of the model will be represented by the graphical approach or graphical model, and that is known as the probabilistics graphical model, that is PCM. So far we have discussed this example to know how latent variable is important. So from this point, we can understand the next point, that is what is the problem with the latent variable? Because there's no guarantee the latent variable you're choosing that is providing the better result. Because why? So it's just like example over here, if I'm expecting the out of the 60 students, this student X student will be top each and every semester, but is there a guarantee? No. In the next semester, maybe he or she is not will be the part of the top 10 students or top 5 students. No, there's no guarantee. But I'm expecting. So as a hidden variables or as a my expected result may be the latent variable. So there will be some problems, and that problem we can understand by the maximum likelihood. So before understanding this one right now, just let me know the status. The example is clear. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So what I'm focusing, listen carefully. I'm not directly explaining the expectation maximization algorithm. First, I'm telling what are the important terms which are required to understand the expectation maximization algorithm. So here we have a very simplest algorithm within the 10 minutes, 15 minutes we can understand. But it is our responsibility to know the each and every point properly. And that is the beauty of the in this course. So we need to understand the concept in detail manner. So now, after understanding this point, let us understand what is the problem of the latent variable. So in a statistical model, why it is not a statistical model? Because we are looking for the result in the probabilistic statistic way. So what is the problem? The problem we have, how we can try to estimate the joint probability distribution. And that is a big problem. So what is the problem? How can we try to estimate the jointly probability distribution for the data set? Can anyone tell me what is mean by the joint probability distribution? Can anyone tell me? Anyone, if you're remembering, so you can share your answer right now. Please tell me what is mean by the joint probability distribution. Yes, speak Emily. If you don't know, so please say yes or no. So I will not be much aware about that part. So I will continue my lecture by speaking something over here. Say yes or no. Anyone who knows any idea about the joint probability distribution? Anyone who knows, please speak here. No idea? Say yes or no.
No idea, sir.
Okay. The probability distribution, let us understand the probability distribution first. Probability distribution means we are distributing our all the data points that are to be represented by the features in terms of the probability. So on the basis of the probability parameter, you are trying to distribute all the data points, and that is known as the probability distribution. So, but what is mean by the joint probability distribution means by using the multiple latent variable, that is a problem. By using the multiple latent variable, if you try to estimate your data point, or if you try to plot the data point in a graph, so their plotting may be different. Plotting may be different from each and with each other from the graph, because we can have the multiple graphs of we can found that the plotting we are plotting the data over the graph are different from the with respect towards the different latent variables. So the common problem here we are choosing the right or wrong latent variable or not. This is a problem. Choosing the first latent variable. Suppose you're choosing the first latent variable, then you are expecting right now you will get the better result. But if you are choosing the latent two variables, suppose you have the two or three variables, then you are getting the accuracy in low down. So the problem may occur at any time you are having the multiple latent variables. So based on the multiple latent variable, this kind of problem may occur. And to understand this concept, we have a diagram. So you can understand this diagram by this image. So now listen over here. So probability distribution can be managed by the probability density function. If you remember the probability density function distribution for the data set. So if you're choosing probability density function to plot your data point, then it will be treated like as a well shaped over here. Then you can see over here, and here we are representing the our distribution in proper way. There will be no issue. But when talking about the other image, then you can observe over here, if we are changing the our total number of the bins, total number of the data points, we can say 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you're dividing our total number of data point to represent the 5 different segment or section, then if you're using the bar graph, then it will be representation like this one, and some of the data point they are belong to the top level, or we can say it is a peak of the this bar graph. Just like example of the peak of the probability density function. So from this point, from the probability density function, we can easily determine this is the data point which are representing the peak value. But from the bar graph, we are not able to justify this point, and that is a big problem. So a probability density function play important role to distribution your data properly. From this peak, we will justify the our value. We will determine the our value, and that is define the something into the probability distribution data. So that is a required question here. We need to keep in mind. So definitely, I'm speaking once again. I will not touch it mathematically in hard way. I just focusing on the important part where you can learn the what I mean by the expectation maximization. From this point, we need to understand the maximum likelihood. So what is maximum likelihood? Maximum likelihood saying to us how you are expecting that your feature should be more in better way. And from this point, we have a function. That function is known as the maximum likelihood estimation, or we can say the maximum likelihood function. Now, so density and in this way, we have a topic, or we have a word. So how do you choose the probability distribution function? That is a PDF. How you are choosing? There's something, some special. There should be something special on which we can choose, because we are talking about the probability density distribution and probability distribution function we have to use. So, but how we can choose? That is a big question. Next question we have: what is the parameter we need to opt? We need to choose for the probability distribution function, and this problem can be solved by the our important parameter, that is a maximum likelihood. Now I'm going back to the once again and just speaking summarize it. What is the problem latent variable? We have the multiple latent variable. Then what we are observing, if you are having the multiple, then or if you are having the single latent variable, and by using that parameter, if you are using the probability density density distribution properly, then we can observe one peak, and from this peak point we can determine the what would be the our expected result. But if you're looking at this bar chart, then we are finalizing or we are observing over here, we can't able to justify what is the maximum value of this point. So from the bar point, we are not easily justify what is the maximum value here, because the particular bar is representing information. It could be -1, it could be 0, and from this point we are not easy to justify, and that is a big problem. So, but in the case of the probability density function, you can even able to see there is only the 0 value where we can have the peak value. So from this point, a maximum likelihood is the only solution which described that how you can choose the probability distribution function and how you can decide some parameter for the solving or for the calculating the value of the probability distribution function. And this is the point from where the problem in the latent variable will be solved by the maximum likelihood. And this is also known as the maximum likelihood estimate. Okay. So now let us understand the maximum likelihood estimation. So before telling to all people right now, tell me right now, the concept is clear. So what is the problem of the latent variable? This term is clear. The what is the problem of the latent variable is clear. So maximum likelihood will be applicable. So far what we have discussed the observed variable, unobserved variable, and from the unobserved variable we have noted down that there are some latent variable. But if you are having the lots of the latent variable, we have the we are not easy to determine the if we are choosing this latent variable, then we can have the better result. And to represent your problem, then we are using the two different kind of the graphical way. One is the probability density distribution graph, and other one is a bar graph, Y chart. But we are not able to determine what is the peak value, what is the maximum value of such thing, because from that point we can decide the function of the PVDF. We can define the equation of the PDF, that is probability distribution function, and we can define the some parameters which are usable by the PDF, and that is the result. So maximum likelihood will be applicable over here. So now let us understand maximum likelihood estimation. Okay, so now let's understand what is mean by the maximum likelihood estimation. So in the statistics, the maximum likelihood estimation is a method of estimating the parameter of the probability distribution by maximizing the likelihood function, and in order to make the observed data most probable for the statistical model. So the model you are using, in which we need to estimate the our probability distribution function value in terms of the height. So if you're choosing a latent variable by which we can at least say this is the good latent variable or hidden variable which describe the your result in better way following by the observed data, and that is a good thing, and that is a required point we need to keep in mind. So what is the unobserved data, what is the hidden data, and we can say all these are only naming convention, they are known as the latent variable. From this point we need to understand the concept properly, and this is the maximum likelihood estimation. So do not get confused and do not go anywhere, just understand the concept properly. Maximum likelihood estimation means in this is actually method. In this method we need to take a function, and we need to increase the cost of not cost, we need to maintain the cost of the probability distribution function, and we need to increase the some parameter to for the estimation purpose in terms of the maximization of its likelihood function. So definitely if you're choosing this latent variable, so in the next time you try to solve the same problem, and that latent variable or latent or we can say the features, or we can say the hidden variable will be acceptable to provide a better result, and that is result. So we have the maximum likelihood estimation, and this is the point you people are required to keep in mind while learning the expectation maximization. Now, so before moving to the expectation maximization, I'm touching only the fundamental part, and that is required portion right now. So now tell me the maximum likelihood estimation is clear. See, all these are theoretically, but we have some equations, so I'm not touching mathematical part, but we have to keep in mind. So maximum likelihood estimation, how we are calculating, we are not touching, because into the our syllabus we have only the EM, that is the expectation maximization, only the 15 minutes concept. But I'm exploring the other part which are required to understand that part only. So now this is clear. And keep in mind, I'm remembering the important point. If you're looking for the maximum likelihood, or we can say that some functions should have the maximum likelihood, then your data must be complete. If you're having data incomplete, it means you are not solving your problem with the entire data. So maximum likelihood, how you simulate. So if
Sir,
yes, tell me.
sir, how we will maximize the likelihood function?
Yeah, definitely. See, there will be some method, and that method will be applicable only on the probability distribution function. So, what the function you are choosing, what the function you are using, that is a PDF function. So, on the function, we need to estimate something. How we can estimate, there will be some function. So, based on some function, we will estimate some parameter. And what are the parameters? We're talking about some features actually. So, from the input space features, or from the various inputs features, we will select only those features by which we can get the better result. Just like example, age, annual income, spending score. If I'm choosing the annual income, then it's okay, I can make the cluster. But I'm choosing the customer ID. Now see.
Sir, means we are selecting the features that are better for our model.
Yes, of course, definitely. And all these activity will be done by some defined function. Like gender, I'm choosing here. So on the basis of gender, I can't make the cluster. That is the point. But on the age, that could be considered as a hidden variable. But annual income, I'm making the cluster. So
Yes.
on the age, but on the age, I'm choosing the age as an important feature, and I'm just considering annual income as unobservable latent variable I can make. But if you try to do something, then definitely you will not get the better result. Now see, this is the done. I have changed something. See, when talking about the practical session, when I discuss the K-means clustering, I have changed its value, annual income to the age. My clusters are not generated properly, and they are just into represented by the linear way. So data set, the data what you are using, that is important for your solving the problem. And if you're not having the good data point, then how you can say you can solve this problem? So that is the point we need to keep in mind. So you need to choose the appropriate features to represent the maximization likelihood, and that is using define function. So here we are choosing the manually from the what data set. But if you try to implement such thing, then you have to define its own method, own some function, and from that parameter you can choose the important features. If you remember my practical, then I have told you how to choose the important features, and we have calculated its some values, and that is a variable. I have taken the fee underscore imp, and with the help of that portion, we have just determined which features are important. But we had only two features. But when we have the multiple features, then we can determine the values, and then we pick the manually. We can pick the these are the very important features, and that's showing to us we are increasing or we are deciding the parameter or features to distribute our data, and that is the best features for our distribution, and that is to be done by the probability distribution, and that is the reason we can say we have the maximum likelihood. So maximum likelihood is nothing which is only the some estimation function on which you will decide some features, and you will distribute your data, so your result would be better. There is nothing else actually. Yes, now tell me.
Yes, sir. Understood.
Okay, good. So now it's time to see the EM algorithm. So after telling to all the people, I did not start my lecture by telling to only the EM algorithm in the very beginning, because here we have so many terms and we need to understand all those terms properly. So let me clear to all the people once again, EM algorithm is basically unsupervised learning problem. And because it is suitable for the unsupervised clustering approach. Okay, so that is the point we need to keep in mind. So what are the important steps which are required to represent your solution? So here we have only two steps. In the graph, in the our diagram, in the flow chart, we will see only there are two steps. One is E steps, other one is M steps. So what we need to see into the E steps, in the E steps, we need to estimate the missing variable in the data set. So suppose you have an incomplete data, then are you able to justify that point? You will have the good accuracy? No. So if you remember some example, what we have done, we are expecting all values, all the data set, the all data points we are having that are belong to the complete. So we are expecting our data set what we have that is belong to the complete. So we need to estimate the some missing variable. Just like example, if you have remember null values. So null values will be filled by the any random values or filled by the its forward filled values. If you remember the fill method, when we have used the fill any method. So what is the previous value which are used by the particular row that is to be filled by the our null values? And what we are doing, we are estimating some values, and that is known as the expectation steps. So expectation step, we are expecting that all data values we are expecting that is a fill. So we are using the complete data set. But if it is not complete, then we have to estimate its missing values. And during this period, we need to keep in mind what are the features you are choosing for its maximization purpose, and at the time keep in mind that is the point you need to keep in mind the maximum likelihood should be followed. And if we're talking about the M step, in the step we need to maximize the parameter of the model to present the data. So from this point, what are the features you have selected, and if those if whether those features, if you're getting the better result, then you can say we have done the maximization of the parameter, maximizing the features. So all features we can't take in terms of maximum. If you're doing the overfitting. If you are selecting the limited features or very two or three features, then what you are doing, you are going to the underfitting. So this approach will tell us you are going to the right direction to make the better result. And definitely we have only the two steps. Now let us understand this step by the above this graph. This is a 4-line algorithm only, nothing else. We have the EM algorithm, and this is to be defined by the only the 4 statements one. Now look at the E steps, that is update some variables, and M step which define the update hypothesis. So given a set of the incomplete, consider the complete data, incomplete data, consider set of the starting parameter. We need to decide some parameters, and from this parameter we need to go to the expected step, that is E steps. So what we are doing, using the observed available data of the data set, we need to estimate or that is guess. So in the fill any method, what we have done, we filled all the null values by choosing the its upper values. If you remember this example, in the maximization step, complete the generated data after the expectation step using the. We need to update some parameter, and we need to update some hypothesis as we have decided our goal is achieved or not. If it is not achieved toward the expectation, steps, then we need to again back to the expectation step to maximize the some parameter and see this step will go on to achieve the result. This is the real example I'm taking here for your betterment. Suppose in the first semester you got a 9.2 CGPA. In the second semester you got 9.3 CGPA. In the third semester you got a 941 CGPA. So what is the problem? What is the problem? After second semester, in the third semester, your CGPA little will go down. Then you are expecting something in the next semester or the fourth semester. You will have minimum 9.4 CGPA. That is your expectation. But you are not getting. Then you are not getting. So what you will do? You will increase your other parameter and you will update something. What the updation? You will do the hard study. You will look for the more and more deeply knowledge about the particular subject in the coming semester, of course. And this step will go on. This step will go on, and then at the last you will get the 9.5 CGPA finally, and that is the required portion. Because you are expecting I will have to achieve 9.5 CGPA minimum, and that is your expectation. So based on the different features, based on different parameter, and you will update your marks or CGPA time to time, and you have to perform well in the different activities which is to be followed by you and which is separate assigned by the faculties, and that is the point. So we have only two mode: expectation step and maximization step, and that is simple concept. Now again, if you move to the theoretical portion, then there will be no sense. Just I'm taking this example. See, inconsistent data. What is inconsistent data? One data is filled, but rats is going to over here. This is a non-filling data. That is incomplete data because it is not complete data. So we are expecting definitely we are expecting we need to fill this one. So what is the approach you are taking? That is a method. So after filling this point, we are expecting we will get the maximum result in better way. And if our result is matching, just like example of the 9.5 CG or more than 9.5 CGPA you are getting, then it's okay. Else again you will do the hard study to get the maximum result. Sir, on average we got the 9.4.2 CGPA, but the next semester I will do the hard study to achieve the my goal, that is 9.5 CGPA. So you will do the hard study on next semester, or maybe you will get the 9.8 CGPA. So average you are getting the 9.5 something, and that is only the phenomena you have to use. But what is the mathematical behind all these approaches? That is the latent variable, observed variable, unobserved variable, features, or maximum likelihood. Okay, so all these are the fundamental part we need to keep in mind. So I did not start my lecture by this diagram. Before that, I told you about the fundamental part which are required. Because without the fundamental part, how you can understand the concept? That is my aim. So student, tell me right now, the fundamental part is clear. What is the actually EM algorithm? So this is the theoretical portion, or this is the again diagnostic approach. Okay, now tell me the fundamental part is clear to all, or anything you want to ask right now? Yes, tell me students right now. Yes, tell me any doubt over here. The fundamental part is clear.
The diagram we are seeing.
In this diagram?
Sorry, sir, nothing.
See, I have already discussed about this diagram. Okay, so if you have any doubt, then you can ask, please. In the EM model or in the EM algorithm, we have only two modes, that is E mode and M mode, and nothing else basically. So everything will be depend on these two kind of the approach. Just like example I told you, in the first semester you got the 9.1, 9.2, and so and so. Then you are expecting that. See, your expectation should be high, and if you have the good or high expectation, then you will look for the maximum parameter. But keep in mind, your parameter should not be more than your desired. So if you are doing something, so I am opting the 15 features, then my result will be better. Of course, it could be, but there is no guarantee because you have chosen the maximum features. Then you may look your result under by the overfitting approach. That is not good way. So that is the point we need to keep in mind. So overfitting, underfitting should not be. So this part is clear. Tell me right now, the fundamental part is clear. Yes, say yes or no. So I will not be worried about my points. Theoretically, I'm just leaving this slide right now because you can go through all this slide, all these content I have written over here. That is only transform into the this point. So now, again, this is a theoretical portion we have over here. The essence of the expectation estimation algorithm we have written over here. We have already discussed. Now, this is our diagram. Same previous diagram is transformed into the EM algorithm and nothing else especially. So yes, from this point, do you have any doubt? Having a look at the flow chart of the EM algorithm. Do you have any problem? Just look at the flow chart and tell me any problem you are having. Say yes or no. So actually say speak something. Students, you have to speak something.
Yes, sir, it's clear.
So any doubt in the fundamental this flow chart of the EM model? Or anything you want to ask? Okay, don't think about the written material by the green color. So actually, the example I told to the other slot, just like this one. In the subject one, the student got the A, and subject two, student got the B, and subject three, student got the S, and subject four, student got the B. And unfortunately, subject five, student got the C grade. So he just want to give the makeup examination to improve his or her grade. So in the next time, what we are expecting, what he was expecting, what she was expecting, he or she was expecting, he or she must have at least a minimum B grade. But unfortunately, he or she got the C grade. So for the makeup examination, for improvement examination, he or she can improve. So what he or she need to do? He or she need to improve some other parameters. What is the parameter? Do the hard study, to know the concept in detailed manner, to the practice if we have the numerical portion, then if you have the programming, then focus on the programming properly. So again, doing the hard work just improve your expectation, and that is my point. Yes, tell me from this point, do you have any problem or any other student who have any problem? Say yes or no actually, or anything you want to
No,
ask right
sir.
now? Okay. So where we can use the EM algorithm, that is my point. So we can use the EM algorithm to fill the missing data in a sample. Sample means a collection of the data, a collection of data point. So we can use this concept to fill the missing values. Of course, we can. And we can use this as a unsupervised learning for the clusters. Because what is the problem in the clusters? In the clusters, we have a centroid, and each and every centroid will be connected with the each and every data point. So what you are doing, you are increasing the complexity. So it takes much time for the computation purpose because the distance we have to calculate it from the center to the data point. We can minimize such thing by the minimizing some distances. And from this point, we can understand this would be implementation in simple way. And next is saying to us, if you remember the hidden Markov model. Now, what do you mean by the hidden Markov model? Just let me give some idea over here. Hidden Markov model, basically a Markov model. Actually, it is known as a Markov model who suggested this model. And here we will estimate the our some hidden parameters or hidden values because those are just treated as an unobserved, but these are the required. Sometimes we say that is you are having the hidden properties or hidden knowledge, and sometimes hidden knowledge suddenly scratch, and their idea will be really implemented or improve the society or improve the or provided the beneficial to the society. And that is the point we can say everyone is important, everyone has mind, but what is the idea you have that can be helpful or that cannot be helpful? But if you're helpful, then it means you are talking about right now some hidden property or hidden idea, hidden thought. So we as a people, as a normal or as general people, we will see only the your exterior presence. So you are understanding this concept, you are sharing your concept, that is okay. But what is the hidden property? Just like example, you are the good in the study, but you have the good you are good into for the painting. Okay, you are good in just driving. So these are the your hidden property, hidden variables, and by which your career, your information, or your knowledge can boost up. Sometimes, suppose I'm taking only a real example. Same thing we can understand by the model that is known as the hidden Markov model. So Markov is name is given on the mathematician who proposed this model. And this model require, if you remember, this model require the data in classification based on it. If you remember the unsupervised learning portion, then PCA, that is principal component analysis, SBD, and K-means clustering, these are the example of the category database in the unsupervised learning. But when talking about the supervised, when talking about the classification data, we have association mining or association rule mining, where we have, if you remember, FP growth, future point growth, okay, and a priori algorithm. And next one we have the hidden Markov model. So this is the model which is applicable when we have the data set into the classification. And now it can be used for discovering the values of the latent variables. Latent variables, discovering the values of latent variables, you're talking about the discovering the values of the missing variables or hidden variables. That is the point. Now let us understand what is the biggest advantage we can look over here. It is always guaranteed that likelihood will increase with each iteration. So each and every time you are just doing increasing. So see, let me clear to all once again. This is iterative process. From this diagram, from this image, you can say this is an iterative process or in a looping process. So each and every time your information will be updated. Just like next time you are just you belong to 9.1 CGPA. Next time you are expecting your CGPA should be 9.2 and then 9.3 and so on and so. So each and every time your maximization likelihood we are increasing, and based on that parameter you are just will get your result, and that is a good advantage. And there are only the two steps. One is the M step is steps, and these are the simple steps to solve many problems for the implementation purpose. Because like the other model, we will not go into the many steps to solve our problem, but here we have only two steps, and that we can solve. And that is the simplest algorithm so far we have seen. For understanding purpose, but implementation could be a little bit hard. And solution of the M step often exists in the closed form, and that is it's saying to the statement like this one. When we got the result as per our maximization steps, it means we got our convergence. If yes, then we will stop. So we are this maximum step is close to your exit form. Why or exit point? Why? Because when you achieved your objective towards the maximum parameters, then it means we have achieved our convergence. Else we have to move to the again expectation step, and this process go into the iterative process. Now, disadvantages. This is the biggest drawback, and that is the slow convergence. Slow convergence could be high when we are, because after attempting so many times you are not getting your result. Then each and every iteration takes much time, so you are having the slow convergence. That is the my point. Okay, so this is a point to keep in mind. And this convergence you make the local optima, because you will be talking about only the specified problem that will be connected to your local. But when you try to solve this problem by the other kind of the information which are connected only, which are connected but not associated, then we will talk about the local optima, and we have some mathematical concept that is the local optima or global optima. So when we have the local optima, if you remember the local maxima or local minima or maxima, okay, maximum minima. So from that mathematical portion, we can say this kind of convergence we are looking for, that is only supported to the local optima. We are not able to solve the problem when we have the huge number of the data point or huge number of the features. If you have, then definitely will have the overfitting. That is the reason. So next step is saying to us over here, it requires both the probabilities forward and backward. Yes, of course. See, you are just back forward to the E to M. Then M to E, you are backward. So we have the two probabilities. One is E to M or M to E, and this process will go on the trig test, and that is why we have the backward forward optimization require the only the forward probability, and that is point, because we are looking for the expectation to maximization. So we are looking for the forward probabilities only, and that is a drawback. So these drawbacks we are not considering over here right now, because these drawbacks if you are looking for, then we will found that EM model is not good. So EM model is good when we are using the only two modes. So it's simplest model. We are talking about the unsupervised clustering purpose. So it just provides the minimum relationship between the each and every data point, and it reduces the complexity of the network. Here I'm remembering the point, so I'm just thinking over here. This is a concept, this is a method that can be applicable into k-means clustering or any kind of clustering. So the result could be better. So this is just like an add-on concept. This is just like an add-on algorithm, and that is the point we need to keep in mind. Okay, so from this point, if you have any doubt, you want to ask something, then you can ask. This is a fundamental part of the EM algorithm, as we have discussed.